If you've clicked here, you've probably got hip pain. But the goal of this video is not going to try and diagnose why you have hip pain, where the source of your pain is from, because most likely what you want to do is just get rid of the pain. And also maybe you've already done a ton of exercises and stretches, some of them are working, but you're confused as to which one's doing what. So I'm going to give you one exercise that's going to be simple and practical that you can try right now to try and fix your hip pain for the long term. No matter what the reason is for your hip pain, because it could be one or several, any of those in the list right here. There's going to be a caveat though. You will need to be disciplined and do it no matter what, unless it causes more pain. I think maybe I'll also add a plyometric exercise just to make sure. This should work for most hip problems, but remember, if the pain aggravates or if it seeps into your daily life activities like getting off of a chair or just sitting for a long time or not just in running, then book yourself for a consultation with a healthcare specialist or a running coach. Having said that, salut, c'est Safe Motions. In any form of hip issue, what we have control over is our muscle strength, our balance, and our control. So no matter what your dysfunction is, what you need to work on are those. Let's go outside so I can show you. Now this exercise is so effective, I'm really excited to show it to you. I'm not promising you miracles, but it's gonna help with most of the hip problems. You see, the hip is a ball and socket joint. So basically, if this is your leg and that's the pelvis, your hip goes like this. It's capable of a ton of movements. All of that, circumduction, rotation, external, internal. It does all that at the expense of stability of the joint. So this exercise is going to focus on trying to consolidate the stability in 3 dimensions. Let's go. You're going to need to bend forward to that. Now here, we're going to be working on both sides at the same time, the standing hip and the moving hip. So leaning forward, that will already help you to reposition the hip, make it glide into the joint. There, on the standing hip, you're going to lift the moving leg up, squeeze your glutes, rotate your pelvis onto that hip, make sure that your knee doesn't rotate with it, knee stays stable, open up, bring the leg forward, back down without touching the floor. And you repeat that nice and wide circle. Once you're done with that side, you do it all the way around. So opening up to the side, this is working on the glute medius, piriformis, right here glute maximus, back down, internal rotators, adductors, all of this at the same time. Of course, once you're done with one leg, you do the other side. I like to start with this one, out, back in. Feel free to start with the other one, out, behind, and in. Don't forget to get that rotation. Like if you stay here, it's fine, but I find that if you're rotating over on the standing leg, you get a little bit more of that glide on that standing leg into the joint. Okay, back to you in the studio. Yeah, it's wet. You're going to do this at least 3 times a week, 10 repetitions each side. Do it slowly. What you're looking for is stability, not momentum, not strength. Well, a little bit of strength, but not just the big muscles. Let's say strength in stability, because you need to understand in all sports that are based on momentum, like running, swimming, or cycling, your goal is to perform economically. So for long distance running, you're going to try and save up as much energy as you can, so you can run for a longer distance. You're probably going to use momentum to carry you forward. That's a little bit the opposite of stability when we're trying to control strength in all dimensions, all directions, not just going forward. The goal of this exercise is to give you a little bit more time to perhaps investigate the root cause of your hip problem, or maybe go and consult with a medical doctor or a healthcare specialist or your running coach. And here's a plyometric exercise that you can add for fun. It's one of my favorite ones for the hip. We're going to do a movement that I call skating. I'm not sure it's the right name, but let's pretend. Standing right here on one side, what I want you to do is hop to the side and bring that leg back. When you're moving to the side, you're using here my left leg to push to the opposite side and land, slowing down my landing as much as I can. I'm not going, So what's important is the push away and the landing. You can start doing the movement slowly and then progressively build it up to more of a plyo exercise.
My arms are here to counterbalance. You can do a counter tap if you want on the ankle just to add a little bit more of that back strengthening. But basically for me, this is one of the best glute exercise. I hope if you do that enough, but just like me, you'll feel it the next day. Well, not every time, of course. The body gets used to it. So really push from the side here and land nice and soft. Try not to cross your leg behind, because then you might be compressing here your bursa or a bit of the structures on the side of the hip. So you land nice and parallel, straight, as if you were ready to run. Whoops. I said as if you were ready to run like this. Don't lose your balance like me.
Also, if there's exercise that you've done before and you found out that they help, please carry on, keep on doing them. There's no reason for you to remove them. One thing that I do want to warn you about, if your hip pain is in front of the hip, stretching the front of a hip might not be the solution, just because the cause of the pain might be weakness of the hip flexor. And if you stretch a muscle that's already weak, it's going to relax and get even weaker. Or your hip pain can come from a nerve irritation, in which case stretching a nerve, it's gonna hurt more. So don't worry, I have the tests to find out if it's either one of those two right here. And I'll see you there. À bientôt.